Hi, this is Gio Wilson for Straight Talk Bahamas. Today I want to talk about an article that I saw in the paper yesterday. It was a quote from, I think, Chicago Lang. If you've read my blog a few times, you might have known that I often talk about we're not focusing on the issues. We need to be focusing on what the next government of the Bahamas is going to do in terms of the economy, paying down the debt, taxes, etc., etc. This article, see if you can read it. It says, next government cannot ignore tax reform. And there you see a picture of Chicago Lang. That is a quote from Chicago Lang. Now, it only makes sense to me that if he's saying that the next government cannot ignore tax reform, that we should be focusing on tax reform, or at least we should be asking the question, well, what is your plan for tax reform? I think that the three major parties right now, I guess the DNA, the PLP, and the FNM, are ignoring tax reform because I think they know that no Bahamian is going to be interested in it. When nobody wants to talk about income tax, for example, and income tax, that's a real possibility. I think before we get into talking about tax, I want to hear the government talk about how they're going to reduce their spending. I want to talk about how they're going to tighten up the loopholes in revenue, the revenue leakage from all these government corporations. I want to hear them talk about how they're going to drop some of the dead weight, such as ZNS and Bahamas Air. I want to hear them talk about how they're going to tighten up these contracts, because we've had several contracts, projects now that have gone way over budget. For example, the roadworks, $60 million over budget. I think there's an article in the paper last week about something, or this week maybe, about something in Abaco that went way over budget. It's just so much wastage of the public funds by these governments, and they want to turn around and tax us when they're wasting the money. So I just want people to be aware of that, and that's why I'm talking about it today. I've been saying it on my blog for a little while now, that we're not focusing on issues. So if you're out there and you're waving your pom-poms and talking about I was this and that for life, I was this and that when I was born, you need to start asking your political party, whether that's the PLP or the FNM. You need to say, listen, what are you guys going to do to reduce spending? What are you going to do in terms of taxes? I don't tell them I'm not interested in more taxes. If these parties were serious, and I guess you have to lay this at the feet of the government, if they were serious about the issues in this country, we'd be having debates instead of all these rallies where people is throwing chairs and all kind of nonsense. You see, when you have a debate, you have to answer questions. When you go to a rally, you can just say whatever the hell you want to say. Anyway, Straight Talk out is something I want. Straight Talk, Gio Wilson for Straight Talk. That's something I want you to think about and hopefully ask your representatives about.